they start thinking there's some kind of secret sauce or I don't know, mystical thing about this. No, you are the mystical thing. You are a human being. Okay? You have the power within you. Jesus Christ said the kingdom is within. Okay? And he said the kingdom is within to let you know so that you don't go without. Okay? Now, today I'm going to talk about another thing as well. I'm going to talk about how you can be in the world and not of the world. You hear Christians say that all the time. Today I'm going to tell you what that means. Okay? So you can be in the world and not of the world. You can be in the system and not of the system. You can live within the system and manifest the world that you want. Okay? You can design your life. And you design it with one of these. Okay? Let me get my pen. There you go. Okay? You design it with one of these. You can live exactly how you want. You know, some people's dream life is just living in a log cabin up in the mountains by themselves, not being bothered by anyone. That's their dream. Okay, so everybody has a different dream. But I'm telling you that you can create your life from here, from this instrument right here. And this is why they say the pen is more powerful than the sword. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Now, first of all, yesterday we were talking about Jesus talking about casting your net to the right side. It's talking about the right hemisphere of the brain. I know it's a nice story and everything, and there's, talks about abundance. Okay, it's really talking about abundance. But when you cast your net to the right side, it's talking about the right hemisphere of your brain. This is why Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father and not the left. Okay, why does religion always keep you on the left side though? You ever notice that? Okay, because the left side is logic, right? The left side. Okay, so one of those things is suppression of inner gnosis. Gnosis, knowledge. Okay? The suppression of knowledge. Okay? Now, we're getting to the age where everything is at your fingertips. So you can research all this stuff. So its power is diminishing. Okay? That fear-based power. Okay? So you have to know that God is love. God is not a part of fear or any other negative emotion. Okay? If anything, so the negative emotions start at worry. Okay, it goes worry, irritation. I got to look at my list. Disappointment, criticism, anger, hate, boredom, envy, despair, grief, guilt, shame, and fear. Okay, on this side. God is none of that at all. Okay, God is love. God is love. Okay, so when you read in the Bible, and you read things like, I'm a jealous God, or, all of that stuff, right? Okay, that's not God talking. That's the Old Testament. Okay, do some research and you'll find out who that is. It's one of the 5 sons of God. Okay, so the Hebrews were henotheistic. Okay, what that means is they acknowledged a group of gods. Okay, they said, okay, there's more than, there's all these guys, right? And we're going to pick one of these guys and we're going to worship that one. Okay, so they select one. And they go, okay, we're going to worship that. That's what henotheistic means. Okay? So rather than, get real deep in that stuff and, go over everybody's head and everybody get confused, just do your own research and you can find it. You will find it. Okay? But here's the thing, right? The right side represents gnosis. Okay? The right brain. Creativity. Okay? Intuition. That's where you feel God. On the right side. And that's why Jesus said, cast your net to the right. Okay? So when you do this, what are you doing? You're trusting God. You're putting your life in God's hands, and that's where you get the expression, walk by faith and not by sight. Why? Well, because these things over here, they look, but they do not see. Why? Because they're looking away from the kingdom. The kingdom is in here. Okay? The kingdom is within. But you have eyes that look away from the kingdom. Therefore, you look, but you do not see. Because you see and hear. Okay, so you got to close your distractors. I call them distractors. Okay, now these pull you into different realities. Okay, and you get lost there. Sometimes it's the video game. Sometimes it's the new car. Sometimes it's the new house. Sometimes it's the new girl or the new guy or the new relationship or the new toy, whatever it is, okay? The new thing, the new television, the new grill, right, okay? And it pulls you into that. Okay, now if you don't understand the way I'm speaking or what I'm talking about, Let it sink in, okay? You'll get it. But now, on the left side, what is the left side? Logic, critical thinking, okay? What is the left side? Analytical thinking, okay? None of this is of God, okay? This is the world, okay? So there's the body and there's the spirit, the left and the right. As above, so below, as within, so without. Okay, what does that mean? Well, the way you are in here is the way you are outside. And Jesus told you that the kingdom is within, so you don't go without, out here. Okay, because when you seek in here, everything is added out here. If you want to make change, you have to make change in here for it to be reflected out here. No such thing as changing things out here. You can rearrange things out here. Okay, you can organize things out here to a certain degree, but if you don't organize them in here, they won't be reflected out here. The universal law of correspondence tells us that you will know them by their fruits. Okay, that's also in the Bible. It's in many holy books. But you will know them by their fruits. What are their fruits? Their actions. What they do, what they say, whatever. Okay? More so what they do than what they say. Okay, and this should actually be men's advice for women, because women are emotional beings. Watch what they do. Don't pay attention to what they say, because those things change. Okay, and she's totally justified, by the way. Okay, because she's an emotional being, she will express how she feels. Okay, so she's not feeling it one day. You'll know. You'll know. Okay. Men are more, we pull more to the left. Okay. The journey of Moses is the journey from the left hemisphere of the brain to the right hemisphere, esoterically. Okay. The suppression of inner gnosis is just keeping all the inner knowledge within. Or let's say it another way, not sharing. Okay, but now we have access to these things. We have access to resources. So now you begin to find out, oh, okay, so I make change in here. But it's not mystical. It's not like you see influencers influencing on social media. And you go, oh, well, I'm going to manifest this. So I'm going to write this down and it's going to show up. Well, the long answer is yes, it does show up. It does show up like that. Okay, but the short answer is it's your subconscious. There is only the conscious, subconscious, and if you believe in God, the superconscious. We're going to use that label because people have different beliefs. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. Now, I'm not here to, as well, I'm not here to pass any moral judgments or tell you you should be a good person or bad person, or well, you be what you want. Okay? If you use this technology, or let's say this knowledge, or let's say this understanding of the human being, you have the choice of being really, really bad, really, really evil, or really, really good. It's up to you, and you choose how you want to apply it. Okay? So how does this process of manifestation work? Well, conscious mind makes the decision. You form the center point out of the decision, meaning you hold firm to the position, to your position. That position could be, I am so happy and grateful now that I have a new car. Thank you. And you hold to that position. That's your affirmation. So affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. When you hold firm to that center point, your timeline corresponds to your decision. Oh, what does that mean, Uncle? Okay, that means that when you make the decision, it becomes a belief in your subconscious. Now your subconscious will give you evidence of it. It will start to show you, okay, evidence of it. Let's say your evidence goes in the negative. Let's say you think that you're, I don't know, that you think you're not that smart. Okay? Negative self-talk, the talk that you tell yourself about yourself that's not good. Okay? So maybe you think that. Now it becomes a belief in your subconscious. Now the center point becomes, right, not that smart. Your subconscious goes, yeah, you remember in third grade when you failed that test? Yeah, you remember in high school when you couldn't pass the SAT? Yeah, you remember? It'll start pulling all this evidence to show you that you're not good enough, that you're not smart. Okay, but by the same token, when you think you're smart, your subconscious will go and pull all this evidence and show you, yeah, you know, you're really smart. Look, you did this, you aced this out, you did this project really good, you did that good. It'll start to show you. So the decision in the conscious mind is very important. What you decide is important. How do you get rid of bad thoughts? You say stop. You say stop, switch, reframe, refocus. What does reframe mean? Reframe means that let's say you don't have a new car yet, but you want a new car. And let's say that your affirmation is, I am so happy and grateful now that I have a new car, thank you. And maybe you're writing that every day and speaking it out loud every night, like I teach you, okay? So maybe you're doing that. And maybe the counter thought is, yeah, but I don't have the car yet. Now that's doubt. Doubt is rooted in fear. Doubt and fear keep you from your manifestations. So now the subconscious becomes confused, right? Because the conscious mind is thinking a counter thought. That's called counter manifesting. And what happens when the subconscious starts to believe that? It won't work on the car anymore. It will go, oh, okay, we're not doing that. All right. And it will give up. It will switch. So you reframe the thought. Okay? And the reframing of the thought could be something like this. Instead of, yeah, but I don't have the car, right? Okay, yeah, this is a pipe dream because I don't really have the car. Reframe that into, I don't have the car yet. It's not mine yet, but it's coming. Now that's a reframe. Now you can restructure and reframe anything, any thought. There's no excuse to dwell on thoughts of things that you don't want. You have to focus on what you do want. When you focus on what you do want versus what you don't want, then you get what you want. And then pretty soon, when, yesterday we were talking about the synergy, right? Between the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious mind. When there is synergy between the three, in other words, when they all agree, when they're all focused on one thing, it has to happen. And not only does it happen, but it happens quicker. And now you can write affirmations and boom, it shows up. Like I do affirmations, in 2 weeks, things happen. Why? Because my subconscious is used to it. Okay, let me show you used to it. Okay, where's my, here it is. So I always keep this under my desk. These are affirmations, okay? These aren't, these are all affirmations. They're not journaling, it's not anything like that. Those are instructions to my subconscious. But because I do it all the time, I've been doing it since 2007, because I do it all the time, it responds faster, okay? Now somebody asked me the other day, like, oh, how long does it take? Well, to optimize your subconscious, it'll take about 66 days, because it takes about 66 days to form a new habit. So you can Google that. You can fact check that. Okay, but there is a longer time span involved as well. Okay, so not everybody's different. It's like going to the gym. Some people develop really fast and some people take a little time. It's the same thing with your subconscious. Your subconscious is like a muscle. It's acceptance. First, you have to accept the thought from your conscious mind. You accept the thought, now it goes into your subconscious if you do it in repetition. Okay, this is conditional. Okay, this is not something that will just be magic. Okay, so you have to repeat this process. You have to keep giving instructions to your subconscious about whatever the topic is. Once the subconscious retains the topic, The superconscious feeds the subconscious. So the superconscious in this case would be God, or source, or universe, or Jesus Christ, however you believe. But that's what opens the doors. As you take the steps towards it, the doors open. The right people come into play. You ever notice that? Life with oatmeal, good morning. Hey Lily, good morning. You ever notice that the doors open and the right people, you meet the right people? Let me give you an example. I always use this example, so if you've heard it before, just bear with me. I'll go through it really quick. So you want to work at XYZ company, for example. So you write the affirmation, I am so happy and grateful now that I work at XYZ company, thank you. And then you're at the gym. You go to the gym, you're working out, and you meet this person. Maybe it's a guy, maybe it's a girl, doesn't matter. And you meet this person, and you start talking. Maybe you're talking nutrition or working out or whatever, something relative. And then you're like, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, I work at XYZ company in human resources. Right? There you go. Okay, I'm being funny about it, but right? There you go. Okay, now how have you ever been in that kind of situation before? Of course, we all have. But what do we think? We go, oh, that's just a coincidence. I'm here to tell you God is real. Now, if you believe it's God or universe or Jesus Christ or however you believe, okay, we're going to classify all of that into the superconscious, and I'm here to tell you that the superconscious is real. Okay, but this is why when you take the steps, everything is energy. This is why when you take the steps, the doors begin to open. When you stop taking steps, do the doors open? No. Okay, there's two types of action. Okay, one is thought and one is physical. Okay, thought is still action. So to take action upon something is to think about it as well as to act physically, or like, let's say, go down and apply for the job, or, you know, that kind of thing, right? Thank you, Life with Oatmeal. So that happens, okay? But that's all energetic. Everything is energy, and we are all linked together, okay? The universal law of oneness says that we are all one. What does that mean? We are all one awareness. We are all awareness. Okay, we are aware. Animals only have that one outlook on life, right? They just have that. We can observe ourselves in motion. Okay, we can see ourselves in motion. We can judge ourselves in motion, which is part of the problem. We pass judgment on ourselves in real time. When that gets to be a habit, because the subconscious learns in repetition, it goes into your subconscious. Then what do? You have a habit of judging yourself. Then you have a habit of putting yourself down. Then you have a habit of scolding yourself. Then you have a habit of getting down on yourself for something. Those habits do not serve you. You have to let them go. You have to stop being a micromanager of your life. Okay, so the Christians have a saying for that. They say, let go and let God. Okay, let go, let universe, let go, let source, let go, let Jesus Christ, however you want to say it. But it's that. You have an internal guidance system. It's called intuition. And this is why yesterday we were talking about casting your net to the right side. Jesus said, he told the apostles, cast the net to the right side. They couldn't even pull up the fish, there was so much. It's abundance. Okay, so there's abundance in the right hemisphere of the brain. What about the left hemisphere? That's logic. Okay, logic. And you know, we were also talking yesterday about people who get conditioned, okay, like in college. Okay, and that's necessary for certain positions. It's necessary to go through training for business, training for, you know, like if you're going to go to medical school, if you want to be a doctor, you got to go to medical school. Okay, but it's one thing to receive this training. It's another thing to live by it. And when I say live by it, I don't mean just do it for a living. You can do it for a living without identifying with it. Because when you identify with something, okay, now you're saying, I am that. I am the doctor. I am the attorney. I am the whatever it is. And when that happens, you take the focus off of this one and you put it on the title. You put it on the diploma. You put it on the degree. You put it on the position. You put it in the hospital. You put it in the corporation. You put it wherever. Okay? But you have to maintain that independence from it. So you can be the doctor, but then you identify as you. Okay? Now this gets me to my next topic that we're going to talk about. Being in the world, but not of the world. What does that mean? Well, that means you can be in the world, but not be worldly. In other words, you can be in the world and take instructions from God. You can be in the world and not influenced by the politics or by the colleges or by the entities that are there to make you think a certain way. So I had this weird thing when I was a kid. I knew this at a very, very young age. And I made this deal with God, right? And I said, God, show me how to play this guitar. Because there was this one guy that got me started on the guitar, and he taught me some chords and stuff. And I still use the same chords today. I just gave him a guitar not too long ago because I was so grateful. The guitar actually opened a lot of doors for me in the world. A lot of big doors. You'd be surprised. It kept me safe in certain instances. It did a lot of stuff for me, right? That knowledge, and you know, because he wasn't around all the time, right? I would only bump into him once in a while and say, "Hey, show me this," and he would show me, and I would take it home, you know, practice, right? But I made a deal with God. I said, God, please show me how to play. And the feeling that I got, the intuitive feeling that I got is like, okay, just play. And so I took my guitar everywhere. I mean, if you talk to some of my classmates, they'll go, yeah, he brought his guitar to school every day. You know, and I used to put it upright in the trash can because the trash can could, you know, hold my guitar. And so I would put it upright in the trash can in the corner of class. And it would stay there until class was over. And then I'd pick up my guitar and take it with me to the next class. But the guitar became my best friend at one point when I was a kid, when I was learning. And I couldn't sit through lessons because I had ADHD. I was very hyper, and I couldn't focus. So I had to depend on God to teach me how to play the guitar. And so, you know, and we call that homegrown. Like a lot of guys are like that, right? And a lot of guys are like that because they couldn't afford lessons. I couldn't pay attention. That's how poor I was. I couldn't even pay attention, okay? But through the years, right, I started finding stuff. And Jay knows, Jay is our moderator on this site, on this platform over here. And she knows, she sees me find stuff all the time because we FaceTime. And she sees me find new chords and new progressions and new things. And I do it all the time. And these things come intuitively. So really what I'm here to try to explain to you or get across to you is that you can rely on that intuition. You can trust that intuition. That intuition will not lead you wrong. It's the ego on the left side, the left hemisphere, the ego, that thinks it knows best. Always. It always thinks it knows best. You know, so you're driving down the street, you get that feeling you should turn right. Thank you, Rosanna. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. But you get that feeling you should turn right. And then your ego goes, no, just go straight. And then you get stuck in the traffic jam. Why? Because you overrode the intuition. You went like this to God's voice. Okay, that's God's voice. It's a feeling. Okay, it's not voices. If you're hearing voices, you need to get in touch with a medical professional. But okay, but it's a feeling. I'm just being funny about it, but it's a feeling. Okay. If you trust that more in your life, more things will turn out better. Okay? Because we're all connected. And this is why doors open when you start movement. When you start taking baby steps towards your goal, doors start opening. The right people come into play. And sometimes God brings the wrong people. Wait, what? The wrong people? Yeah, the wrong people. Okay? Sometimes God will bring the wrong person over here to push you over there, where you should be, over here. Sometimes God brings special people in your life to give you a hard time, to condition you, to make you strong, to make you better, to get you where you need to be. You know, I went through a situation like that. I worked in 2 very toxic work environments, like excruciating mentally. Mentally, it was a job. It wasn't a physical job. The physical side was easy. Physical side was a piece of cake. But navigating mentally. Okay, one girl even sued the radio station I was working for. She filed a lawsuit against it. And I didn't even know. She told me after the fact. She goes, yeah, I left a long time ago. She goes, and I sued them. Toxic work environment. Okay, it was toxic. I guess she couldn't take it. I took it. But I had my own companies. So after I was done doing what I did, 4 hours, whatever, I would go back to my office and I would sit in my chair and I had to meditate. I had to close my eyes and I had to be still just to get all the energy off. You know, but I could deal with it. I knew how to deal with it, so it was easier for me. Some people, it wasn't so easy. She filed a lawsuit. But what is it? Like, you can be in the world, not of the world. Let me give you an example. So when I did my, I did radio for a long, long time. Okay, it was like, back in the old days, it was like $5 an hour kind of thing, right? And I never lost sight of the dream, okay? And every time something would happen, I would always have the attitude like, is this it? Is this the big break? Is this the, right? And I expected something good, something good, something good. And there wasn't always something good. Sometimes it was pretty painful. Looking at your check, I don't know if you've ever had a check where you get $5 an hour. Check looks like a little less than $200 sometimes. Okay, but it gets discouraging along the journey. Okay, it gets discouraging. But every time something would happen, I would be like, oh, is this it? Is this it? Is this it? Finally, one day, years and years and years and years and years down the road, this guy goes, hey, this guy's out sick. My partner's out sick. You want to sit in? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I asked him, I said, can I bring my guitar? He goes, yeah. And the reason why I asked to bring my guitar is because it would be something different. Nobody plays guitar on the radio. So I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll just have fun. That's what he said. I'm like, yeah, we'll have fun. Already, I'm thinking like, hey, I wonder if this is going to amount to something. I wonder if this is going to, right? So I had this idea in my head. So we invented this whole thing. It's show business. So we invented a character. So basically, I was a voice actor. It wasn't really me that was coming out of the radio. It was a character that I invented. Well, actually, both of us invented it. I invented it with him, the guy who, was on the show. And so we both invented this character, and we built it up. Okay, till today, I joke around. I go, well, he should get some of the royalties. but he was a creator of it as well. And so we went down the road, right? The first day, the second day. On the third day, I just got this intuitive feeling. And because I've always relied on this intuitive feeling, because I was always an only child, Okay, I had to entertain myself when I was a kid, um, and I always had to rely on that because my parents weren't always home. They were out doing adult things and going to meetings and all that kind of stuff. So I spent a lot of time by myself, and so I'm really good by myself. I don't need anyone around. I'm fine. I just I keep busy. So by the third day, right, I get this intuitive feeling, and I don't know, something came over me during the second hour of the show. And the feeling was, dude, you better sing for your life. This is it. And there were people calling the radio station, go, hey, tell so and so, stay home already. We want Junior. We want, whatever. And that kind of made me feel weird too, because, I was just filling in. I was just sitting in. And people started calling, like, hey, can you sing at my baby party? Can you do my wedding? My sister's getting married. Can you do the music? Can you come and perform? Can you, do all that stuff? And so here was my manifestation of, wanting to do my music and the radio at the same time. And I'm playing a song live on the radio when I get this feeling. And I'm like, oh, okay, sing for my life, like my life depends on it. And I started putting out that energy. And from that day forward, I always performed with 1,000%, like my life depended on it. And guess what? It did depend on it at a certain point. Because at a certain point, okay, there were people within the organization trying to push me out of the position I was in. And that's a entirely different story. But when that happened, that energy saved me. So you can call it God, you can call it Jesus Christ, you can call it divine intervention, you can call it divine guidance, you can call it all of that, but that's what it was. Okay, so when I say my prayers, people ask me like, oh, uncle, do you believe in Jesus? Yeah, I believe in Jesus. I end my prayers, I say the Lord's Prayer, and I end it in Jesus' name. I don't say amen. That's another issue. But I say in Jesus' name. So just in case you're wondering, because, we got Christians. I have a lot of Christians. On my Facebook account, I have a lot of Christians. So, but anyway, being in the world and being of the world, it's two different things. I was not employed by the radio station, but for 15 years, I was on the morning show. I wasn't employed. I was in the radio station. I wasn't of the radio station. I came in. I had the keys. I had the keys to the corporation. I just walked right in, dude, get in the door. Right? I had the keys. On the business side, I subcontracted to my company. We built a $4 million advertising machine, $4 million over 15 years in retail. I had contracts for that, but I didn't have any contracts for being on the radio. I didn't have a contract. I wasn't hired to be on the radio as a personality, as a character that I was doing. So I was on the radio, but not of the radio. Okay? Now let's take the entertainment industry. My goal was to do my entertainment. My whole life it was, okay, entertainment, right? Now I've been a teacher my whole life as well. And that's what I really am. My mom and dad, they're both teachers. I come from a line of teachers. My grandmother taught, and then my son was a drill sergeant, so he taught. I don't know about my grandson. I haven't really gotten to know him yet. But I suppose he'll end up teaching in some capacity somewhere. Because, teaching is inbred. It's something like, like you have a family with a lot of carpenters, grandfather, then father, then son, then, like that. So this is genetic. It's genetic as well as epigenetic. So these things happen. So anyway, I was trying to run from teaching because I wanted to do entertainment because I saw it on TV. I'm like, wow, that's fun. I want to be like that. I want to sing for the girls. I want to sing for the girls, hang out with the girls, and just sing it. That was the plan. None of this was the plan. Business, all this stuff that I've done, none of this was the plan. The plan was just, okay, I'm going to go to the beach, I'm going to sing for the girls, and take them surfing. That was the plan. Life has a way of opening up to other things. Okay. But you can be in the world and not of the world. So when I got to do my music, finally down the road, right? So this radio thing opens it up for the music thing. And now we have a wedding and party business that was by accident. Because everybody was asking me, can you play at this party? Play at our party, play at our party. I didn't even know what to charge. I was like, yeah, 300, 400, 500. It just kept going up because I didn't know what the market value was. And your competitors aren't going to tell you. Right? So I just kept, okay, and a little bit more, let's see what the market will bear, right? And I think the last, I don't know, it was 2,500 when we shut down. And we shut down in 2019. Timing is everything, right? And it was time. God was telling me this, okay, this is done. You're done. You're done. This is not good already. My music partner died in 2015. By 2019, I was over it already. It felt like work. It felt like work. And this is why I say you got to find your passion. When you find your passion, you will never work again in your life. I haven't worked for decades. Decades. People say, oh, but Uncle, we see you working hard. We see you going down to the office. We see you, doing this, that. We see all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, but this is easy for me. This is not difficult. This is something God gave me. When you use your gifts, your God-given gifts, use your God-given gifts, you'll never work. But if you choose something outside of your wheelhouse, let's say you want to do something for money, okay? So you can serve God or you can serve mammon. If you want to serve mammon, you want to serve money, you want to serve the material, you want to serve that, then you pick something because of money. Then you go, okay, I'm going to do this because it makes money. And then down the road, you'll find somebody like me to explain things and break it down for you. And they'll go, oh, okay. Because when you serve money, it's a different thing, right? I see these guys work for money. They make tremendous amounts of money. And I'm happy for them, right? But at a certain point, their body gives out, right? They're broken, they're ill, they go to the doctor. Now they got to take all that money they made and they got to go give it all to the doctor or give it all to the HMO or give it all to the therapist or give it all to the whatever, okay? Physical therapy, whatever, mental therapy, all kinds of therapy, that kind of thing. Some of them give it to me as a life coach. And we straighten everything out and set them on their way. That's why we only have 5-star reviews, only 5-star reviews in more than one company. And it's not a flex, it's just telling you, trying to show you, demonstrate to you that when you operate from your gifts, when you operate from what naturally excites you, what naturally gets you going in the morning. Like I couldn't wait to get to the live. I was sitting over here waiting. I was, 15 minutes to 7. I was watching the clock. I was waiting. I was like, okay, pretty soon. And then it was 7 o'clock. Boom, here we go, live. Here I am. Okay, and I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to, there's no package to buy. There's nothing. I'm not here to sell you anything. Okay, you can go to the website if you want to, hereforyoulifecoaching.com, but there's nothing to sell you. That's not my purpose here. My purpose is to give. Okay, I give a lot. I give a lot of my life. When you give your time, you give your life. I give a lot of my life for what I do because God gave it to me. God gave it to me. I share it with you. So being in the world and not of the world. When I got to the entertainment part, I'm like, okay, now, you see, I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. I wanted to sign with a record label. I wanted to be produced. I wanted to, do all of this stuff. And my uncle pulled me on the side when somebody started getting interested in me. He pulled me on the side and he said, look, you can do this one of two ways. He said, you can sign the contract with these guys and you can be like all these other, well-known guys in town and they owe their life to the company store or the record label and producers, right? or you can do the other way. And I'm like, oh, what's the other way? Because I wanted to know, okay, what's the hack? And my uncle said, well, you can work hard all of your life and do the same things because you can be in the world and not of the world. But you have to do it with God and not these guys. Because then you're serving God and you're in alignment with God and not mammon or the industry or the commercialism or that stuff. The contract, it's where they say you sign your life over to the devil or whatever. But it wasn't like that. I didn't see it like that. So he said, you're gonna owe these guys money for the rest of your life? And sure enough, when I got into the industry and I started talking with people, that's exactly what happened. These guys, the most popular guys around, were deeply in debt. They weren't making money at all. And then rehab happens. Rehab, because you start taking stuff to keep going, keep doing the work contract, right? So God gave me a wedding and party business. And I'm like, whoa, okay. But I still wanted the other stuff. I still wanted the record company. We still petitioned the record company. We said, hey, send them demos and stuff. But they wouldn't touch us. Why? Because we didn't need them. We had our own companies. So they couldn't use us that way. Right? Because God gave me the venue. God said, okay, here, you want to perform? Okay, go. Perform all you want. But you have a wedding and party business. You can see it. It's the Junior Kekuewa Jr. Roadshow. It's on Facebook. It's no longer active. We shut it down in 2019, but you can see a record of it for years. 15 years. But that's what God gave. So like I said, the how is always God's job, but you don't know how God is going to bring it. And I had no idea. When people were asking me in the very beginning, like the first few days, like, oh, can you come to do my baby party? Can you come do my wedding? Can you do my sister's, retirement party? Can you do these? I had no idea. I had no idea God was building me a business. It happened by accident. And then I was rushing around going, oh my God, what am I going to do? I had to go buy a sound system. I'm like, I had a Nissan Maxima. I'm like, how am I going to do that? I need to get something small enough for the Maxima, but big enough to, do the job. And I found it. I found a secondhand system and whatever, and just kind of built it like that. And my business partner, Wayne, he was blind. He and I were music partners for years and years and years. And then we started doing that. And that was, I remember, breaking down and setting up and stuff and becoming resentful because I had to do that in the beginning, right? Because in the beginning, you got to do it yourself. And I told Wayne, I said, we're going to know when we made it, when we can get a roadie. I told him that. I said, we're going to know we made it, we'll know we've arrived when we get a roadie, And then I had to have surgery, and the roadie showed up. The roadie volunteered. Okay, he was the producer. We called him the producer. We didn't call him a roadie. We wouldn't disrespect him like that. Okay, but he volunteered. He said, "Hey, I'll come break down and set up for you. I'll do all of that stuff because you cannot lift anything. You had surgery. I'll do that." And then we looked at things like we started looking more like the glass half full. Like, oh, now we have somebody to set up for us, and so we paid him. And that was the beginning of a producer. So things grew slowly like that. But that's God. You don't have to be in the record company. You don't have to be in the entertainment industry. Everybody thought I was in the entertainment industry. It was a pretty good cover. But I had my own business. So not only so what I'm here to tell you is that when God gives you things his way, it's even better, because I never expected like, okay, this is going to be my business. I never thought that. I thought I was going to get discovered one day. And then I'm going to be like all the other popular guys in town. No, no, no. I had to sacrifice that part. I had to go, okay, you're not going to get that. But you get this, you get the money, you get the company, you get the joy, you get the enjoyment, you get all this stuff over here. You don't get this, you don't get the popularity, but you don't get rehab. You don't get the drugs, you don't get the rehab, you don't get the, vicious work cycle over here. You're not going to get this, but you get this over here. Go live your dream. And so I live my dream that way. But there's a lesson here. There's a lesson with this. And the lesson is you have to trust whatever it is that you think your higher power is. If it's source, if it's universe, if it's Jesus Christ, if it's Allah, if it's whatever it is for you. But you have to trust in that because it's all in here. The kingdom is within. Okay? Jesus said the kingdom is within, so we don't go without. When you read seek and ye shall find, it's talking about closing the distractors and seeking in here, in the kingdom. Only because your eyes look away from the kingdom. I'm not here to preach morals or tell you how to believe. This is not church. This is not temple. This is not synagogue. This is none of that. You are not your body. You are not your name. You are the energy that lives in here. And this energy is eternal. This body is temporary. This is temporary. This gets old pretty soon. One day this won't be able to move very much. It'll get so old I will have to leave it behind. But my energy will still be young. I have a 90-year-old mother, 90 years old. But her spirit is like 25, maybe 17 sometimes. Okay? It doesn't change in here. With every birthday you have, you look in the mirror, you go, how did this happen? I'm like, whoa, like this morning I looked in the mirror and I'm like, whoa, I got all this white hair. How did that happen? How did I get here so fast, right? I'm thinking of dyeing my hair back. And it was Jay's advice that I let it go gray, and everybody's like, yeah, you look good gray. I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like the illusion of looking in the mirror and seeing a young guy, It kind of makes me go a little farther, I think. I don't know. But seriously, when you let go and let God, you don't have to be in the world or of the world to be in the world. You could be in the world and not of the world. I was in the radio station. I wasn't of the radio station. I didn't have a contract. I watched the other guys get dressed up once a year. They would get dressed up and go renegotiate their contract, or every couple of years, whatever it was. I had my own companies to deal with. I had my own businesses to run. I had my own things to do. But for 4 hours in the morning, I was there. A lot of sacrifices had to be made. You don't get something for nothing in the world at all, ever. Okay? I had to sacrifice a lot. Sometimes it was pretty excruciating to go through mentally what I had to go through. The discrimination I had to go through. Okay? The jealousy I had to go through. Those things I had to go through. So it's a mental game. And if you're not prepared mentally, don't even try the next level. Don't even try going above, next level. Don't even try to do that. Prepare yourself mentally first. How do you do that? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. You have to work on your subconscious. Because the subconscious learns to be strong. The subconscious also learns to be weak. If somebody can push you around and you take it, and they push you around again and you take it, and they push you around again and you take it, guess what the message to your subconscious is? Oh, I take it. Okay, I'll just take it. I'll just be the whipping boy. I'll just be the whipping girl. I'll just take it. Right? Wrong. Don't do that. That's not good. It's not good at all. Hey, Wolf to Wolf Dog, good morning. Good morning. I see you over there. Thank you for coming back. I am here to tell you that you have a life path. You have a purpose and life path in here. Okay, that's what we help people find, their purpose. Especially now when everything is moving online. You know, we actually have a company that deals with that. It's called VMAC Consultants. We've helped many local businesses. We've helped many individuals, solopreneurs, as it were. You're going to have to find something online because you're going to need to bring money in from different avenues. Okay? Multiple sources of income, but from different areas. Because the brick and mortar world is slowly collapsing. Okay, rents are going to be so outrageous. You're going to have to bring money in from outside. So think of something that you can adapt what you know and your purpose to something online, to something that you can do virtually. That's going to help you in life. We saw this back in 2008, 2009, and we started building online companies. But I'm here to tell you, you don't need to follow a gatekeeper. You don't need to kiss up to anybody. You have your own life path, and your life path will unfold according to what's in your subconscious. If you program your subconscious appropriately, and the subconscious works with the conscious mind. Okay, so your conscious mind makes that decision. You hold that decision firm as your center point, and your timeline will correspond to you. Try it. But you have to be stubborn about it. Okay, you can use stubbornness in a good way. Okay, you have to be stubborn, focus on your purpose, focus on your decision, and stick to it. Because God works like a GPS. You know a GPS, right? So you know when the GPS gives you the way this way, but you know a shortcut over here, and you take this over here, the shortcut. What does a GPS do? It starts spinning in circles, right? Because it's figuring out the new way. Because you're going that way. Now what does it do? It lays out the way that way, right? So every time you change your mind, God goes, whoa, 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 hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Right? And then the way is made. But a way will be made. And quantum physics is showing us this, that there's an infinite number of ways to get from A to B. And that's why you have to tune in here. That's why you need to meditate. That's why affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Because you have to feel God's instructions. Okay? Intuitive thought, intuition. You need to tune into that. If your frequency is too low, or let's say it another way, if your mood is too low, if you feel bad about yourself, if you feel bad about your conditions, if you feel bad about your surroundings, if you feel bad in general, then you need to change that. You need to feel good. Okay? Don't focus on what's going wrong, because that will increase. Focus on what's going right in your life. Focus on that. Even if it's only a couple of things. You know, maybe the money's not there. Maybe the job's not there. But you have a really good wife or a really good girlfriend or a really good partner, whatever you call it, okay? Maybe she's really, really good. So you focus on her. Take care of her. Be good to her. And guess what? More good things are going to happen. Why? Because energy flows where attention goes. And if you're doing something good, okay, more so if you're doing things from love. Because God is love and God is in here. You just have to use that energy. It's in here. It's already in you. You just need to get in touch with it. Society desensitizes you. Okay, you see all the gory stuff, you see all the violence, you see all the ugly stuff. And pretty soon, what happens? It desensitizes you. Pretty soon, nothing phases you. Well, guess what? You're not just numb with your eyes. You start getting numb inside. Why? Because human beings become what they see. They become what they experience. They become what they watch. Human beings become what they experience. Okay, so when you're on this thing, and you're scrolling, okay, make good choices. Why? Because if you make good choices, the algorithm will keep showing you the good stuff. If you make bad choices, it'll keep showing you the bad stuff. Then you'll feel bad. Then you'll feel scared. Then you'll feel alone. Then you'll feel rejected. Then what happens? Well, then you have a reticular activating system in your brainstem. Oh, what does that do, Uncle? That starts pulling things according to what you feel in your subconscious and what the topic is in your subconscious. It starts showing you. That's why when you like that sports car, pretty soon you see that sports car all over the place. You go, wow, I never knew there was that many sports cars like this, like the one I wanted. Why? Because you were focused on it, so it shows you more of it. So what happens when you get caught in the loop online? It translates out into the physical world through your reticular activating system. Look it up. Do the research. Check it out. If you write me an email, I'll explain it to you. junior@hereforyoulifecoaching.com. I'm not going to charge you anything. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. I don't need anything. I'm here volunteering. But that's how that works. So you can get programmed online through your phone into depression, right? In the virtual world. And it will show up in your physical world because you're engineered like that. You're the biggest, bestest computer there is so far. They're working on it. They're coming up with stuff better than us. Sad to say. But yeah, we're headed in that direction. But you are a supercomputer and you have control. You can program yourself, your subconscious. And then what happens? Well, then you start getting the positive stuff. What happened? Does bad stuff happen? Yes, bad stuff always happens. And good people do bad things. And bad people do good things. So all you need to do is do it the majority of the time. So the 50 percentile is here, good stuff, bad stuff. Push this over 1% and now the majority is good. And now your life starts getting better. You push it some more. Maybe 53%, 54%, 55%. Right? Now your life is ideal. And now you start living your dreams. You start getting the things you want. You start focusing on things you want rather than things you don't want. And life gets easier. Life gets better. Okay, so God bless you guys. Thank you for tuning in this morning. Rosanna, thank you for being here, and thank you for the gift. That was awesome. Thank you, thank you. Manuel, thank you, my friend. Manuel in Belgium. Yeah, take care. So we want to